My parents' haunted house. This may be too long for some people to listen to, but I figured I had to share it. This is my first time I'm posting anything about this. I'm a 31-year-old woman, married, and recently moved back in with my parents due to moving back to the town I grew up in. My husband and I are taking our time looking for our own place due to wanting something nice in the area, and that's usually pretty hard to find nowadays. This story takes place in my parents' house, starting back about 10 years ago. A description of the house for a bit of context. It's a 2-story brick/stone house in the city limits, but still surrounded by nothing but woods. You have to go through a garage that leads into the kitchen with the first bedroom to your left. Past the kitchen is the main living room, and to the right is the hall that's very open. In this area, you'll find the main dining room and a second living area, but if you continue to go straight, you'll see the staircase to your left, and even farther straight is my parents' bedroom and bathroom. Going up the stairs, you'll come to the third living area, and it's a pretty big house, and it has 2 sets of French doors side by side that lead to the outside balcony. Going straight, you take a sharp left that leads you to the other 3 bedrooms and the 2 bathrooms. That's where the story takes place. The first time I stepped foot into this house, I immediately felt off, like something just wasn't right. I felt the presence, but I didn't know what or who it was. I brushed it off thinking I was just reading too much into it. I continued to feel like this for the next couple of years, and because of this, I didn't enjoy visiting them. My parents liked to gamble a lot back then, so they would ask me to babysit my baby brother and sister one day on the weekend. My boyfriend, who's now my husband, loved them so much, so he would always babysit with me. The first few times I really didn't pay attention to the feeling I would get, because we would be busy playing or eating with the kids. After that, things kinda chilled out, and we would end up watching movies until it was time for us to go to bed. Now my husband is a freak of nature. It's like he falls asleep the second his eyes are closed. Me, on the other hand, it takes me forever to get comfortable enough to wind down. My mind is always running all over the place. I also don't sleep well, even when I do finally get to sleep. This night was the first time I saw and heard something in this brand new house. In this room, the bed is facing the doorway, but not directly in front of it. With the double doors open, you could see the front of the staircase and all the way down the hallway. As long as the light is on, that is. This night, only one of the hallway lights were on. I was laying in bed with the TV on, but the volume down low, so I could hear if one of the kids would call me. I was almost asleep when I heard one of the siblings coming down the stairs. I opened my eyes a bit and waited for them to get to the bottom, but they never did. I don't think anything of it, so I closed my eyes and I began to drift off again. A few minutes later, I hear again, so I opened my eyes and waited, but again, they never got to the bottom. This time I took notice. I sat up and I listened. I was a bit spooked, but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle. I got a little bit nervous, but I still went to check to see if they were there, and maybe they were scared to come all the way down or something. No one was there. Confused and thinking I must be dreaming, I got back up to go to bed. This time, I closed one of the double doors. It was a few hours later, around 2:30 a.m., when I felt like someone was very near me, as if they were standing next to the bed right in front of me. Usually, when I opened my eyes, I would see the green glow of the alarm clock on the bedside table, but this time, I saw nothing. It was pitch black. I couldn't even see the hallway light on, and the TV turned off on its own. I felt like I couldn't move. I was awake now and scared to my bones. I was finally able to call out my husband's name loud enough to wake him. He reached over and turned on the light, and right then, the scared feeling went away, and I was finally able to move. I freaked out and started crying. I couldn't begin to explain to him what happened because even if I had, he wouldn't believe in those things. So I told him I was having a nightmare and I asked him to go check on the kids. When he came back, he said the kids were fine and got back in bed. With the light on, I was able to fall back asleep, but it took me forever. The next day, I told my mom about what happened, and that's when she told me. She'd been hearing footsteps on the stairs at night, and even saw someone standing by the door at times. She didn't tell anyone because she didn't want to scare the kids. This is when she told me what she'd done. She wanted to know what was going on in her house, so she went and bought a voice recorder. One day, she decided to use it and went upstairs while everyone was gone. She asked your typical paranormal questions of, "Who is here? What do you want? And why are you here?" And then said, "You passed away and need to go into the light. You're not welcome here." The next day, she decided to leave the recorder in one of the bedrooms upstairs while it was recording. It recorded for about 4 hours while she was running out doing errands. I asked if she checked it, and to my surprise, when she said she was too afraid to listen to it alone, I wanted to listen to it. Off we went to the computer and began listening to it after it was uploaded. During the 4 hours she was gone, you could hear something clicking or tapping even. Sounds of a drawer opening and closing, but we weren't too sure about that. Then we listened to the part where she was asking questions. Now you could hear a sound that resembled a fan or maybe static throughout the whole thing, so some sounds were indistinguishable. But the one sound we did hear chilled us to the core. When she asked, "What do you want?" it gave us an answer. The answer was Jamie. It didn't answer any other questions except for that one. Jamie was my brother, so I cried immediately. He wasn't having night terrors for no reason. Someone was there. Something was there. Every night. For him. We soon asked a friend to cleanse the house. For a long time, everything had been okay. My brother stopped having night terrors, my mom was able to sleep comfortably, and all was good again. Until now. I've been living in this house for a month and a half. For the last 3 weeks, I've been seeing things everywhere, especially when I'm alone. Because of this, I won't stay alone here anymore. I get this strong feeling of being watched. I had the feeling of someone pulling on my blanket at night also. I think it's time for another cleanse. And just an FYI, I'm the 3rd generation on my mother's side of the family that is able to see spirits. My dad's side of the family has, in the past before I was born, practiced black magic. I don't like speaking to them, and I won't dabble in any of the spiritual stuff people do. I stay as far away from it as possible, and I recommend that you do too. Even if you're careful, these spirits can haunt for a long time, even after you're gone. More recently, I was sitting in the living room playing with my nephew. My mom was on the left couch, and my sister was on the right couch. My nephew had a toy piano made of cloth, and it could be folded up. This piano was behind us in the corner with all my nephew's other toys. We were talking and watching my nephew attempt to walk when the piano made its own sound. It's like someone was pressing the keys slowly. We stopped and stared and then looked at each other in shock. The keys then started pressing rapidly until finally it shut off on its own.